Hello everyone, today we're learning mציעא Daf Hayomi. The learning today will be Lefros Avram Pinchas ben Imi Marossi. We're going to start from Pedalad on base at the last line. Says the Gemara, V'aynu da'amar Rebbe, and this is what Rebbe said. Shloisha Anvosim hein, the three people who are novim, Ve'eluin Abba, my father, Shim Gamliel, Ubnei Beseira, like we're going to see soon, V'yonasan ben Shaul. Now the Gemara explains, Shimon ben Gamliel Hodar that he called himself a fox, a no lion. Bnei Beseira, the Omar Mar, Shivu Baroish, that they were the Nesim in Eretz Yisrael. And when Hillel came from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, they saw that he's greater than them, and they made him a Nasi. Uminu le-Nasi alein. Yonasan ben Shaul, the Ka'amar le-David, he told David, he was the son of the king Yonasan, but he told David, V'atatim loich al Yisrael, v'ani elech al Mishnah, you'll be the king and I'll be secondary to you. So he gave David to be the king. Said the Gemara, Mimai, Dilma Yonasan ben Shaul, you know why he did it, the Chaza, the Gore Alma Bossa David. So everyone's following David, they like David. So it's not a big deal that he gave him to be king. He knew people wouldn't accept him. Maybe it's not that they realized that Hillel's great and they made him a Nasi. Maybe they were embarrassed. They saw in Bis Medrash when a question's asked, he knows much better than them, and everyone knows that he's greater, so they made him a Nasi. So the Gemara, Rab Shimon Gamliel Vada and Vosanov. For sure, Rab Shimon Gamliel was the honor. But the other two, it's not clear. Raya. Omar Rebbe, Chavivim Yisurim. He saw the story of Rab Shimon, they was Mekabel himself Yisurim, and the Toiloim didn't have shlit on him. So he said, Chavivim Yisurim Kobil Olei, he accepted on himself, Kleisa Shoni, he kept on himself 13 years of Yisurim. 6 years betzamirisa. Tzamirisa is like stones in the pee where it's very painful to go to the toilet. Besheva, and 7 years betzafarna, it's like ulcers in the mouth. Ba'amilo, and some people say the opposite. Shiva betzamirisa, veshish betzafarna. Said the Gemara, Ha'urei, the one who takes care of the horses, the Rebbe of the house of Rebbe, Ave Otim Shvor Malka, he was richer than Shvor Malka was a king, he was a very rich man. So when he'd give hay to the horses to eat, Ave Ozil Kolo Beklosemili, that make such loud noises of excitement, they'd hear it 3 mil away. Ave Mechaven, he was Mechaven to do the Romi, to give them the food by Ishaita. At the same time, the oil Rebbe lebeisakisa, when Rebbe would go to the toilet, so people couldn't hear his screams of pain. Even though they did it at the same time, the sound of Rebbe's pain screaming was louder than the noises of the horses. The people who went down, the people who in the ocean, who were on ships, could hear the screams all the way from the ocean. Said the Gemara, Yisura de Rabbi Lothar Rab Shimon adifim de Rebbe. The Yisurim that he had were better than Rebbe's. Dilu Rabbi Lothar Rab Shimon me'ava bo me'ava olchu. The Marashal explains, like we learned before, that they were only at night. In the morning you told them go away, and they went away, and there was no bittul Torah. And it says somewhere else that Yisurim shel ava is when there's no bittul Torah involved. The Rebbe, even though that we said before that he accepted on himself, but it happened because of a story. Said the Gemara, what was the story? What's the case? This baby cow, they were taking it to shecht. Ozal, the baby cow went, he hid himself in the cloak of Rebbe. The Kobochin was crying, we were going to kill him. Omalei, so Rebbe told this baby cow, Zil, go, get shechted, this is what you were born for. Amri, they said in Shemaim, oil veloy komerachem, since he doesn't have rachmanos, very good. Maybe this is what his purpose in life is, but at the end of the day, he's going to get killed. Leisu le Yisurim, he should have Yisurim. And I think it's also the Marshal explains that really a cow is meant to be used to work in the field and only at the end of his life to get killed. So, and he was saying, no, Lukach Natzat already as a baby, so Mishamayim, they gave him Yisurim. Normally a person gets Yisurim before he dies, so here you get Yisurim when you're younger. Says the Gemara, Validei Maisa Olchu, and the Yisurim went away also because of a Maisa. What happened? One day, Ave Kokancha Amsa the Rebbe Beisa, the servant woman in the house of Rebbe while she was cleaning the house. There were baby rats over there and she was pushing them away. Omar lo, shavkinu, leave them. It says in the Pasuk, V'rachamo of Hashem's mercy al kol ma'asav, and all his beings, and even though that the rat is the worst being, it's the lowest of the lowest, and even all animals that exist on the land exist in the sea except of rats, and they're the lowest of the low. Afilu Rebbe had rachmanos on the rats. Amru, they said in Shemaim, Oilu merachem, since he has mercy on the rats, nerachem olei, and we'll have rachmanos, and it stopped his Yisurim. Kulu shani Yisur de Rabbi Loza, all the years when Rabbi Loza had Yisurim, lo yishochav inish below zamane, no one died before it's time to die. Kulu shani Yisur de Rebbe, all the years where Rebbe had Yisurim, lo yitzrich alma lemitra, there was water in the ground without rain, you didn't need rain. Doma Rabbi Barabshila, koshi yoyim demitra ki yoyim dedina, a day, it's difficult, the day that rains as if a day of Besdin. Because when it rains, you can't go out and you can't do what you need to do outside. Yeah, the world needs rain, but it stops you, avoids you from many things. So it's a bad day in a certain way. It's kosher, it's a hard day. So here with a nest, they didn't need rain. If the world wouldn't need rain, Rabbanon would ask Rachamim from Shemaim, and they would cancel rain in the world. But they couldn't do so because then we won't have anything growing. Even though that they rain in all those years, when they take out radish from its patch, the hole where the radish came out of would fill up with water because the land was blessed with water. Said the Gemara, Ikla Rebbe Lasra der Rabbi Bar Shimon. Rebbe went to the place where Rabbi Bar Shimon lived. Amalei, he asked, Yesh lo ben lo is a tzaddik, did Rabbi Loza ben Shimon have a tzaddik, a son? Amr lo yesh lo ben, yeah, he has a son. The kol zoyno, any prostitute, niskeres b'shnaim, who gets paid for her services too, so Charatosh pays the son of his who was so beautiful, b'shmoino, because he was so beautiful, but he's a balavera. Asya, he took him, Asmechei berebi, he called him a Rebbe that he should have, and Rashi says, Asmechei berebi, let me just find it. He called him a Rebbe even before you were the Rebbe to make him have pressure to live up to his standards. And the famous story about Bacho who went off the D and he went to, I think it was Rabbi Freifeld in Shar Yoshev in America, and he asked him, I want a cleaning job, I need money. So Rabbi Freifeld saw who he was and he knew he could learn Torah. So he told him, no, I don't need a cleaner, but I need a chavrosa for a young Bach who needs help. I'll pay you for that. And he said, okay, I need money. He did that. And since then he made him come back and be choyze b'tshuva. It's a bit of a similar story. So Asmechei Rebbe v'ashalme, and he sent him to Rabbi Shimon ben Isi ben Nekunya, achois di'imei, the achua, I think it is, yeah, the brother of his mother, and he would teach him Kol Yoyim Ave Amale Krayosi, and the son of Rabbi Loza bar Shimon was saying, I want to go back to my city, Amale, so Shimon ben Isi told him, Chochim of du Yosach, they're making you a Chochim, the Guls of the Dava Prosoloch, they're giving you gold, the Rebbe Korlach, and they're calling you Rebbe, V'atomers leKrayosi Ano Ezel, and you want to go back to your old deeds, to your city, Amale. So the son of Rabbi Loza said, Mumi Azuva, that's a Loshen, Mumi Azuva, it's a Shvur. Yeah, Mumi Azuva, a Shvur that I'm not going to go back, I'm not going to ask anymore to go back home. Kigoda, when he became big, also Yossi b'Mesivti, he was sitting in the Beis Medrash, the Rebbe, Shamale Koile, Rebbe heard his voice. I recognize this voice. It sounds like the voice of Rabbi Loza bar Shimon. They told Rabbi Brehu, it's his son. Kore Alei, he called on him, Pri Tzadik Eitz Chaim. So he said on this pasuk, Pri Tzadik Eitz Chaim, the fruit of a tzaddik, it's Eitz Chaim, the Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Loza, Rabbi Shimon. That he's now Talmud Chacham. That's the Rabbi Shimon ben Isi ben Nekunya, that he took a nefesh and made him into a chacham. Kinoch nafshei, when the son of Rabbi Loza, his name was Rabbi Yossi, the grandson of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, died, Amtule Marosa, they took him to Miron to bury him in the maror of his father and grandfather. Davo, Ave, Odrole Hachnole Marosa, the snake that we had the last time when they tried to bury Rabbi Loza, came back to the cave and didn't let them go in. Amrulei, they told him, Achna, snake, Sach Bicho, open your mouth. Vichones ben Etzeloviv, let Rabbi Yossi, the son of Rabbi Loza, go to be buried. Loi Poschalahu. Didn't open, because the people over there thought, Shezeh Godim Mizera, Rabbi Loza is much greater than his son. Yotzo Basko Amra, and a voice came out of Shemaim and said, not because one is greater than each other. Rabbi Loza and Rabbi Shimon were 14 years in a cave learning Torah when they run away from the Romans, and that's a big tsar, and that they have a big schus to be in this cave to be buried. And Rabbi Yossi, the grandson and the son, even though he's a great person, he didn't have that schus, and therefore he can't be buried there. Ikla Rebbe la Asher Rab Tarfon. A similar story, Rebbe went to the city where Rab Tarfon lived. Omalu, he asked, does he have a son? Because Rab Tarfon used to make a shvur, and he'd say, if not, my kids would die. So he asked, does he have a son? He doesn't have a son, but Ben Bas Yeshloi, he has a grandson through his daughter. Any prostitute who gets paid for services to pays him 8 to be with him because he's very beautiful. They brought him in front of Rebbe. Rebbe told him, if you do tshuva, I'll give you my daughter. Odabe did tshuva. Some people say he married her and then he divorced her later on. He never married her at all. Why not? That people shouldn't say, because of this woman, he wanted to do that l'shem shamayim. Why did Rebbe make such an effort to get these big tzaddikim's kids and to make them Talmidei Chachomim? Says the Gemara, the Omar Rabbi Yehuda Omar Rab, Ba'amr lo Omar Rabbi Chia bar Abba Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Ba'amr lo Omar Rabbi Shmuel ben Achmani Omar Rabbi Yonason. Kol ha'melamed is bnei chaver Torah, someone who teaches his friend's son Torah. Zoicha v'yoshe b'yeshiva Shamala, he sits in the Beis Medrash upstairs in Shamayim. Shneimar in Toshuv, if you get someone back and carve into the Torah, v'ashivecha lefonai tamoid, you'll sit in front of me, stand in front of me. The kol ha'melamed is ben Amarot Torah, anyone who teaches a son of Amarot Torah, afilu HaKadosh Baruch Hu goyze gzera, even if HaKadosh Baruch Hu says a bad gzera, mevatlo, b'shviloi. For this tzaddik, Hashem will be mevatel for him. Shneimar, because it says in the Pasuk, v'im toitzi yakom izoylel, if you'll make something special for something bad, someone who wasn't Talmid Chacham, and you make him a Talmid Chacham, the son of Amoritz, kepitia, you'll be like the mouth of Hashem, and you'll have the koyach to mevatel gzera that Hashem made. Omar Panach, Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Kol Shul Talmid Chacham, someone who's a Talmid Chacham, Umnoi Talmid Chacham, and his son is also a Talmid Chacham, Ben Umnoi Talmid Chacham, and his grandson is a Talmid Chacham, 3 generations of Talmidei Chachamim. Shuv ein Torah Pesekes Mizari, the Torah won't leave his kids later on. Loilom forever. Shenemar, because it's in the Pasuk, Vanita is Brisi, and it says Lo Yemushu Mipicho, from you, Mipi Zarecha, Zera Zarecha, your grandson. Omar Hashem, Me'ato v'adoilom. My Omar Hashem, what does it mean that Hashem said? Omar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Ani Arev Lecha B'Dova, there, I'll be your guarantor that about this thing. My Me'ato v'adoilom. What does it mean from now on forever? Omar Rabbi Irmiyah, Mikan ve'elach Torah mechazeres achar al achsanya shelo. That once you have 3 generations of Talmidei Chachamim, the Torah is going to chase itself to the future generations of these people. Rabbi Yosef Arbroin Tanisa, he sat 40 days in Tanis v'akruya, because he wanted that he shouldn't forget the Torah v'akruya, and he came out pasuk lo yomushum picho. You won't forget the Torah. Yosef Arbroin Tanisa achrina, he sat another 40 days Tanis v'akruya, and they called out to him lo yomushum picho pizarecha. That will be not only you, also your kids will learn Torah. Yosef Mer Tanis Achrina, and the Gersa here is Arbroin Tanis Achrina. He sat another 40 Tanis. Also, and he came Vakri, and he read out Lo Yomushum Picho Pizarecha and Pizera Zarecha. He said, not only you will be also your son and also your grandson. Omar mikan ve'elach, he said, from here onwards, lo tzorchina, I don't need to fast anymore. Torah mechazeres al achsania, like we said, that once it's through generations, the Torah is going to continue in that family. Shelo. Rav Zera, kisolik la'ard Yisrael, when he went up to Eretz Yisrael, Yoshiv mer ta'anisa, he fasted 100 tainis, and delistakach Gemara bablo minei. They should forget the Gemara of the Bavli. Marashah explains that maybe in those days in Bavel they used to a lot of time argue for the sake of argument, not to really get to the bottom part to the halacha, just to say, look, I know I have a greater idea, I have a greater kasha, but wasn't really to get to psak halacha, and therefore he wanted to forget that way, and he wanted to learn in a new way to get to the emes of the Torah. That Ishum Bovim. Yosef Me'achrinta, he sat another 100 tainis, and the Lolishko Rabbi Elazar B'shonei, that Rabbi Elazar shouldn't pass away before he passes away. Why not? V'noflin Olovei Mila de Tzibur, Rabbi Elazar was in charge, he was not only was a big Talmid Chacham, he was in charge of all the fairs in the community, and it's a lot of work, and it causes bittul Torah, so they want that to happen, so it happened that Rabbi Elazar shouldn't pass away before him. Yosef Me'achrini, and he fasted another 100 fasts. The loy nishlot b'nuder Gehenim, that the fire of Gehenim shouldn't control him. Kol talsim yoim, every 30 days, avi bodik nafshei, he would put himself in a fire. We're going to see in a second, to see that he doesn't get burnt, to see that the eish of a Gehenim is not choilet on him. Shogar tanuri, he lit a oven. Solik v'yosef begavei, it sit in it. Lo have a shalte b'nura, and it didn't burn him. Yoim echad, one day, yavu be Rabbanan eina, Rabbanan looked at him with a bad eye, and his thighs got burnt. And they used to call him Kotin, a small one, because he wasn't tall. With burnt thighs. Omar Rav Amarav, my dechsiv, what chat in the pasuk, Kmiya Isha Chacham v'Yovin Ezois Asher Dvar Pi Hashem Elo v'Yagido Al Ma'ov Doretz. So it said in the pasuk that they asked, who is the person who's going to say why the Churban happened? Omru, Peheyamud base. Omru Chachamim v'loy Pirshu. The Chachamim couldn't explain why the Churban happened. Omru Nevim v'loy Pirshu. They couldn't understand why it happened. Ad shepirsha Kodesh Baruch Hu b'atzma, until Hashem gave the explanation. Shenema Barim Hashem al ozvom esterosi asher nosati lifneim. That they left the Torah that I gave in front of them. Omar Rav Amarav, what did that mean? Not that they literally left the Torah. It means Shloi Bircha B'Torah Tchila, they never made the bracha before they learned, and I mean they didn't look at it as such a big milah to learn Torah that they never said the bracha, and therefore there was the Churban Beis HaMikdash. Omar Rav Chama, my dichsiv, what did it mean? The pasuk Belev Novin Tunuach Chochma, in a heart of a Novin Chochma will lie. In people who are ksil or stupid, Tivoda will be shouted out. They'll make a lot of noise about it. It means this is what the meaning of the pasuk is. Believe Novin Tonu Chochma, the Talmid Chacham ben Talmid Chacham who learns Torah and it sits in his heart good. V'kerev ksil in Tivoda, the Talmid Chacham ben Amaretz, and the ksil is his father, and because he makes a lot of noise, he's all excited. I know Torah, and he makes a big deal out of it. That's what people say. Istira balagina. If you have one coin in a box, kish kish karya, it shouts out kish kish. It makes a big noise. If you have one coin in a box, you shake it makes a big noise. But if it's full of coins, it's quiet. It doesn't have where to move. So empty vessel makes a big noise. Omale Rav Irmir Rav Zera. My dichsiv. What's chat in the pasuk? Koton v'godol shom hu. It says in Shemaim that when Koton Godol, that a small person and a big person Shom will be clear who's big and who's small, and a person who's a slave, the slave will be free from his master. So he asked him, Otule Adin and the Koton Godol Shom, isn't it clear? Then Shemaim will know who's great and who's not. So he told him shots like this: Elo kol maktin atzmal divrei Torah. Anyone who makes himself small to learn Torah, bo'ilam hazeh, in this world, nase godol le'olam bo, he'll be great in next world. Kol mashlim atzmai ke'eved al divrei Torah. Anyone who's like a slave to learn Torah, bo'ilam hazeh, in this world, nase chofshi le'olam bo, in next world he'll be a free man. Reish Lakish Ave Mitzayen Maros de Rabbanon. Rish Lakish was marking where each one the kvarim of the rabbis. When he came to the cave where Reb Chia was buried, the Almamine, he couldn't find it. Cholash Date, he got weak, he was upset. Omar, he said, Rebbeinu Shalom, Loi Pilpalti Torah Kamoiso, did I not learn Torah like Reb Chia? Yotzabasko V'Omer Loi. Came out a noise from Shemayim and said, a voice said, Torah Kamoiso Pilpalto, yeah, you learned Torah like him. Torah Kamoiso Loi Rebatsto, but you never spread Torah like him. Ki Ava Mintu Reb Chanina v'Reb Chia. When Reb Chanina and Reb Chia were fighting, Omale Reb Chanina Reb Chia. Reb Chanina told Reb Chia, Ba'ate didi komintzis. You're fighting with me, Chas v'Sholem, im ishtakach Torah Misrael. If the Torah will be forgotten from Israel, Ma'adronol, I'll return it, mi pilpuli, from my pilpula Torah, I'll bring back the Torah. So Omale Reb Chia, Reb Chanina, Reb Chia told Reb Chanina, Ba'ate didi komintzis, you're fighting with me, the avdil Torah de lo tishtakach Misrael. I actually, not if it will be forgotten, I'll bring it back. I actually made it not to be forgotten. And the Gemara is going to explain what happened. Maya vidna, what did I do? Azilna, I went, v'shadina kitzna, and I planted flax, v'gadilna nishbi, and I made out of it cages to catch animals, v'tzayde tevi, and I caught deers, Ma'achina b'srayu, from the meat I'd give to Leatmi, who didn't have parents, v'arichna migilsa, and I'd make a cloth, like a parchment from the skin, v'katzavna, and I wrote chamisha chumshi Torah on it, v'salikna lemos, and I went to town, makrina chamisha yanuka b'chamisha chumshi, and I found 5 kids, and each one I taught a different part of the Torah, one Bereshis, one Shmois, one Vayikra, one Bamidbar, one Dvarim. Umasnisa shita yanuki, shita sidra, and I found 6 kids, and one I taught Zroim, one etc. Moyed, and each one I taught a different part of the Shas of Mishnayos. And I told him, Ada Adarna, until I come back, Vasina, and I come here, Akra Dodi, you who know Bereshis, teach the one who knows Shmois Bereshis, and the one who knows Shmois will teach you Shmois. V'asnu Adodi, and teach each other the Mishnayos. V'avdi le Torah, and I caused that the Torah lo tishtakach meshor shouldn't be forgotten. I was marbe Torah in the world. Ainu Doma Rebbe, this is what Rebbe said about Reb Chia, Kama gdoili ma'aseh Chia, how great are the deeds of Chia. Omali Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi, Afilu mimara, is Reb Chia even greater than you? Omaleim, Afilu me'abba is even greater than my father, or Rabbi Yosi, your father. Omalei chas v'sholem lo yisei k'bozos b'Yisrael. Don't say that he's even greater than the father. Omar there emesh, last night in the dream, nearly Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina. Amarati lo etel mi ata tekua, who are you with in Shemayim? Omalei to Rabbi Yochanan, I'm sitting by Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan tell me, who's sitting on like higher than Rabbi Yochanan? It's a Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yanai tell me it's a Rabbi Chanina, and Rabbi Chanina tell me who's Rabbi Chanina sitting by. It's a Rabbi Chia. So Rabbi Chia was at the top of the chain. Amarati lo Rabbi Yochanan to Rabbi Chia loy. Is Rabbi Yochanan not great enough to sit together with Rabbi Chia? Omali ba'atad is cooking the nura in a place with this big fire, ba'urim, the asha, and torches of fire. Man ma'el bar nafcha letamon. Who needs over there a bar nafcha, someone who deals with metal? Bar nafcha, the reason why it's called bar nafcha, because he needs to make a fire and he knows how to make the fire big. So when you have a big fire, we don't need someone who knows how to make a fire big. We have a big fire. Therefore, Rabbi Chia was so great, much greater than Rabbi Yochanan. He's not sitting in front of him. Omar Rav Chaviva, Ishtoili Rav Chaviva bar Sumki. I heard from Rav Chaviva, the son of Sumki, Chozi Li Omer Rabbanan. I saw this person Rabbanan. The Avashchichu Elio Gabe. Elio Anovi used to come to him. Teletzafra in the morning, Avashafir Neine. His eyes looked good. Uleruta in the evening, Damyan Kedemikilin Benura. It looked like as if they got burnt in a fire. Amrle, my high asked him, what happened to your eyes? Armali, the Amrle Elio. I told Elio, Achvili Rabbanan Kilsalkele Misiv to the Rakia. Show me the Talmid Chachomim passed away when they go into the Beis Medrash and Shemayim. Amali bikulu motzes listikuli, on all the Chachomim you could look. Behu lebara, except of Megurunka, it's like the carriage. The Reb Chia deloiti stakelbei. They shouldn't look at it. And how do you know that it's going to be the carriage of Reb Chia? My simonai, how are you going to recognize? Bikulu azlu maloche. Kisalki v'nachti, and all of them, the malachim are carrying the carriages of all the tzaddikim. The bar migu unka de Reb Chia, except for the carriage of Reb Chia, the minofish nafshi solik v'nochis. It doesn't even need malachim, it goes by itself. I couldn't hold myself back. I looked at the carriage of Reb Chia, also two sparks of light, made him blind to this person who looked at the carriage of Reb Chia. The next day, I went home to the Ma'ara of Reb Chia, Amina, and I said, Masnaisa the Mar Masnaisa, Reb Chia, like we have Mishnayos of Rebbe, Reb Chia had, she's a story of Brises. I'm going to learn your Brises. I'm going to be Magdal your Torah in the world. And he got better in his eyes and he could see again. Eliyahu Avashchiach b'Mesivta the Rebbe. Eliyahu used to be common to be in the Beis Medrash of Rebbe. Yoy Mechad Reish Yarchav. One day that was Rosh Chodesh. Noga, he was late. Noga Levelo Alfa, he never came. Omalei, my time in Nogalele Mara. So they asked Eliyahu, why were you late? Omalei, Adu Ukmina le Avram, until I woke up Avram from his sleep. Mashini Yoda, and I washed his hand. Umatzle, and he prayed. Umanginele, and he went back to sleep. V'chein Yitzchak, v'chein Yaakov. I did each one, and it took a long time. And I was late, and I think the Maharsha explained that Rosh Chodesh is man very mesugel. It's like his chachos, his man mesugel to daven about the Geula, because it's also his chachos when Mashiach ben David will come back. Says the Gemara, they asked me, Lukmuni ba'ad adodi, why didn't you wake them up all together? Sovri, he said, the Shemaim said, Tokfi barachmi, if they all up together, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and davening, they'll pray very strong. And they'll bring Moshiach before his time, so they didn't give him permission to wake them up all at the same time. Omalei, so he asked him, is there anyone in this world who has such a strong power of tefillah that they could bring Moshiach? There is. Who is that? Reb Chia Bonov, Reb Chia and his sons, got a Rabbi Tanis. So Rabbi heard this, he was going to Tanis, Reb Chia Bonov, he brought Reb Chia and Bonov to be there and to pray. They said, straight away wind came, and rain came. When they came to say Tchias HaMeisim, and the whole world would do Tchias HaMeisim, would come Rogash Am of the world shake. I remember they said in the Shemaim, Man Gali Razir Ba'alma, who spread the secret in the world that Reb Chia and his sons have such a strong power. Amri Eliyahu, they said there was Eliyahu, Asiyul Eliyahu, they brought Eliyahu, Machyui, they hit him with Shittim Pulse to the Nur of 60 hits of fire. Also, so Eliyahu came, Idmulu Keduva, the Nura, he came down to where they were davening, and he looked like it was a bear made out of fire. Al-Binai went between the Betardinu, and he made them, everyone got a shock and ran away, and they stopped davening, and therefore Tchias HaMeisim never happened. Shmuel Yerechiona. Shmuel, the moon man, because he was a Baki in Soida Ebro, how to be Ma'abba the Chodesh, when the Rosh Chodesh, and that's why they called him Shmuel, the moon man. Asya the Rebbe Ava, he was a doctor of Rebbe. Cholash Rebbe Be'ine, Rebbe got ill in his eye. Omale, imloch loch Sama, let me put some liquid medicine in your eye. Omale lo yachenna, I can't. He said, Ashtoch lo mishta, let me put on top of it like a type of cloth with medicine on it, and that will heal your eye. Omale lo yachenna, I can't. So what did he do? Ave moisevle beguv the samni. He took like a small kone, like a canoe that's hollow inside, tute beis sadia, in the back of his head, and he went through and he put the thermonim, the medicine, straight into his eye from the back of his head, and he got better. Rebbe was trying very hard to make Shmuel, to give him smicha, because Shmuel was a big Talmid Chacham. It never worked out. The Chacham never gathered together. Every time something else happened. So Shmuel told Rebbe, don't be sad. I saw the book of Adam Arishan where Hashem gave him, showing him each generation who's going to be in charge, who's going to be the Talmidei Chachamim. And it says in it, Shmuel Yerechiona, me, Shmuel, Chacham Iskari, he'll be called a Chacham, but Rebbe lo Iskari, and he won't get smicha. But also the Rebbe, Al Yodo, and he's going to be the doctor of Rebbe. So don't be bothered that you can't do mismicha, because I know that this is the plan of Hashem. Rebbe, the Rav Nosson, so if Mishnah, the Gemara says that Rebbe and Rav Nosson are the last Tanoim and they were Masada the Mishnah. Rebbe was the main one Masada the Mishnah, but they the end of the Tanoim. Rav Ashi Ravina Soiferah, they the end of the Gemara, and they wrote down the Gemara. Before that, it was a mix. It was so before Rebbe came, it was lots of Mishnayos. Each one had his Mishnah, and Rebbe put them all together. And then there was the Mishnayos, and then there was everyone would ask kashas and chaylis and stuff. It wasn't organized. And Rebbe and then Rav Ashi and Ravina put it all together into the Gemara that we have nowadays. The Simonech, a simon for this is Ada Voyel Migdoshi Eil Avino Lachrisom. Says Rashi, "V'simonech adavoil migdoshi eil migdoshi simone de Rav Ashi Ravina, simone de Ravina lachrisom simon soifer ra." So in this pasuk it says migdoshi is miloshen Ashi and Avina is miloshen Ravina. Lachrisom, that's the end of the days of the Gemara. Shkoyach.